Last time on Chronotopia, Devmo plummeted to his death. Trapped in purgatory, he meets a witch named Liz. She's going to help him regain his memories by telling him a fairy tale. It's a story about a king who tragically lost his wife. Driven mad by his despair, he falls in love with his daughter Nahima. She struggles to find a way to stop this unholy union.
You've been wonderful, Princess. We've managed to buy enough time to set up a plan.
We still have to find one, however.
At least until he realizes that time is a light grayish blue. Anyway, it's better to sleep on it. It's been a long and intense day. I'll get under the covers, and you must be exhausted. Get some rest, and we'll think about it tomorrow morning.
You are probably right, Nahima. Except for the covers thing.
With a brooding and hazy mind, the princess and her retainer quickly went to bed. There had to be some way to save herself. Meanwhile, the king had gathered the most talented crafters of the era, the best tailors there were, and he ordered them, "Make a dress in a day, or you will all be hanged." Terrified for their lives, they set to work straight away, relentlessly working all night, while cursing this weird idea. A dress the color of time? What caprice! On the dawn of the second day, the princess woke up earlier than usual.
The cold
Kionna
fear in her
was
heart.
Not in the mood to stay abed. She was pressed for time, and her night had been scattered with nightmares and untimely awakenings. I blame Nahima. The verbena scent was getting overwhelming, almost sickening. She could not wait. Someone had to help her get rid of this unbelievable situation.
The flowers, right?
Still in her dressing gown, she sat on the edge of the bed and stroked her hair, waiting for the retainer who was in charge of her toilette. After some long minutes, the door eventually opened.
Good morning, Princess. Oh, you're already awake.
I did not sleep very well.
Some choices will impact the story later on.
Thank you, announcer man.
You are welcome, Nahima.
I had a horrible night, Nahima. I could not get any rest. What is going to happen to me?
I'm sorry to hear that, Princess. I understand you're troubled by your father's proposal, but we have to keep calm and find a plan of action. And remember, this is not normal. Know that you're not alone. I'm with you, and I'm not going to let you down.
You are probably right, as usual. Thank you, Nahima.
The young servant squirmed with an embarrassed look as the princess reached over and patted her lightly on the hand.
Oh, Princess, this is no time for flattery. First, I have to take care of your toilet. Off with those clothes.
The servant immediately set to work on that task, all while still talking, which is rather impressive.
I've thought a lot about this myself, Princess, and I believe it would be wiser to tell your preceptor that you were sick. It would grant us more leeway to conduct research.
A very good idea, Nahima. Do you already know what to do?
You'll probably not believe me, but I saw your mother in a dream last night.
You're right, I don't believe you.
Fantastic dream. Oh god, it was such a dream. She looks just like you. And I remembered something. After your birth, it was said that she had given you the fairy's blessing.
The fairy's blessing?
Yes, that's what I said. This is going to take longer if you keep repeating it. It is just a rumor, but there should be some truth in that statement. If your mother did leave something useful to you, we could use it to save you.
Planning on saving her with a blessing. Kionna, understandably, stared skeptically at the young Moor.
I, too, would love to believe in magic, but these are old legends, and I am too old to be fooled by this nonsense.
Nahima raised her voice while making wild, frenetic gestures.
I know it must sound ridiculous, but I believe in those legends. I think your mother had the fairy's blessing, and it passed it on to you, and I'm ready to prove it.
By shooting you in the face.
And... and how are you going to prove it?
I'm going to leave the castle for the day and investigate in the nearby hamlets. I'm sure some old countrywoman will be able to give me some information about the true meaning of this rumor.
Oh, well, if you're backed up by an old countrywoman.
In that case, for my part, I'm going to have a look around the great library. Maybe some dusty books will teach me how to get rid of the madness that has taken hold of my father. Let us part ways and meet again tonight in my bedroom to talk about our findings. May the best of us win.
It's a deal then. You seem quite confident, Princess, but do not underestimate the power of old legends.
Or old countrywomen.
Magic does exist, and I will prove it.
Once done with the toilette, Nahima parted from the princess and quickly set off, convinced she had found the best lead. Left to herself, the heiress sighed and went towards the library, but not without dawdling on the way. Laziness was taking hold of her with each step, and everything seemed pointless. Her heart was looking for an escape, but her brain was telling her again and again there was no miracle she could hope for. The only thing that she could do in the meantime was to pray. The dust that welcomed her as she entered the dark room only increased her distress. Carrying a candle, she inspected the shelves, looking for a ray of hope. Most of the books the king owned were written transpositions of epic poems, lyric lays, or chivalric romances. The few treatises on science were all gathered in a small corner. You don't need science, like arithmetic.
Oh, come on! Liber Simplicis Medicina by the Abbess Hildegard of Bingen, translated from German. This may be what I need.
Oh, definitely. Yep. She sat down at a table and glanced over the book. Descriptions of plants and medicinal values were passing under her eyes, yet there was nothing of value to her.
What was I thinking? No book can get me out of this mess, but one about black magic or alchemy. Am I really this desperate?
Kionna closed the treaty of medicine with a pout of bitterness. Truth be told, she had suspected her approach would be unsuccessful, but she had hoped this false sense of action would be enough to regain her courage.
What I need would be to bring my father to his senses, and there's no plant that could help me change his mind.
Disheartened, the princess put the imposing tomb back, and decided to spend the rest of the day alone in this dark, yet soothing room. As she was returning to her bedroom, Kionna took a look at the amber sky.
It would be wiser not to let my father wait indefinitely. If I do not find any solution, postponing my fate would just anger him even further.
While walking in the castle's corridor, the princess could not help but feel curious about the results of Nahima's investigation. It was their only lead, however implausible it could be. Once in her room, Kionna was welcomed by a great smile on her servant's face. A bit out of breath, with pinky cheeks for having walked for a while, the young girl gave a triumphal look.
How did your investigation go, Princess?
Poorly, unfortunately. What about you?
Would you believe I managed to find the information I wanted? Witnesses of your baptism recalled seeing a fairy during the ceremony, and they confirmed that she gave you her blessing.
We're saved! Kionna was startled. She had never been very superstitious, but, like all good believers, she knew higher beings could sometimes play with humans' fates.
Where is your science now?
Could it be that fairies were real after all?
Really?
I swear on my life, during the great celebration that was given in your honor, all the peasants, crafters, and merchants nearby were invited. Some were given the right to get significantly close, so they could see the fairy by themselves. I asked several people. There's no doubt about it.
And what do you know about this blessing? How can I use it?
Bippity oh. If I get what the grandmother told me, the blessing allows you to invoke the fairy to your aid.
That is exactly what I need. Nahima, it is wonderful. You did it.
Not quite so, Princess. I do not know how to call your fairy godmother. I do not even know her name.
Oh.
Foiled.
Awkward.
That is unfortunate. If I have no way to contact her, we're back to our starting point.
I mean, not quite so. I figured out that you have a fairy godmother. Now that we know, we just need to investigate a little bit further. Being fatalistic. The oldest retainers in the castle, those who knew your mother fairly well, might know how she managed to talk to that fairy.
Fairly
We
well.
just need a little more time.
More time.
The sound of someone pounding on the door cut them short and made them...
Ah?
Ah!
When she opened the door, Kionna discovered a handful of crafters who had come to bring the dress the color of time, which is a light bluish gray, that the kingdom requested. She was told, "Wear this and go to the royal cabinet, where you are expected." With an aching heart, the young girl complied. It's a little green, actually, for thyme.
Yeah.
I think they got confused with the herb. Anyway, when she entered the room, wearing the dress the color of thyme, the king was immediately enthralled with her charm. The workers had done an excellent job, especially on such short notice with their lives hanging in the balance, and the result fitted the young girl like a glove.
When did they get time to measure her?
Shyly, she then requested a new dress. Frantically looking for an idea racing in her mind, she ordered that this one will be the color of the moon. The king, who could not refuse her demands, immediately urged the same tailors and embroiderers that created the previous work to come and gave them similar instructions. Once again, fearing for their lives, they complied as quickly as possible. Thus began the same little game. The next day, Kionna and Nahima hurried toward the kitchen, where most of the castle's retainers met. Looking for clues, the two young girls were determined to make the most of the time they were given.
It has been so long since the last time I came here. This place is as restless as in my memories.
It was hard not to agree with the heiress. The kitchens were always thronged with people, no matter the time of day. There were lots of servants, lots of plates, and a sweet scent hung in the air. The cooks gathered around the great table and chatted in a general cacophony while making the kingly meal.
If the kitchens are incommodious to you, Princess, you can go back to your quarters to rest.
It should be all right, Nahima. We are here to investigate. I do not intend to fall at the first hurdle.
Very well. Let us question that group over there. They seem to have the gift of gab.
No sooner had she spoken, the lady's companion led Kionna to a quieter corner of the room, with a firm push of the hand. Two cooks and one assistant seemed more busy talking than peeling vegetables.
Excuse me.
They instinctively looked up at their interlocutor. Their expression changed completely upon noticing the princess. They all jumped in unison. Aha! And one of the cooks, bolder than her colleagues, moved forward to greet her.
Your Majesty, it's an honor to see you amongst us today. May I help you with anything? Would you like to know that we are cooking for tonight's meal? Unless you're here to learn details about the preparations for your wedding ceremony?
Well, actually,
The other cook cleared her throat and elbowed her neighbor.
Definitely a wondrous event, right? Adelphi?
He answered with the same awkward tone. Absolutely, Melisande. We are all so proud of our princess and her upcoming wedding to her father. The retainers were so profusely complimenting her out of courtesy that the princess could not speak as she wanted. However, she made a second attempt.
To return to the reason of my presence, I would like to...
Would you like me to guide you through the kitchen so that you can admire our work?
Nahima came closer to Kionna and discreetly whispered to her.
Princess!
That's not discreet.
Over here!
Very discreet.
I'm afraid the retainers will refuse to speak in your presence. They're too scared of displeasing you. I suggest you play along and follow Eleanor while pretending you're inspecting the kitchens. Meanwhile, I'll question Adelph and Melisande, who seem more flippant.
I trust you. I suppose we cannot help it. I will content myself with being the diversion. Be my eyes and ears, Nahima. I'm counting on you.
Hopefully, Princess, something much more than that. Thank you, Princess. I'll be worthy of your trust.
The heiress immediately took a slightly more commanding tone.
Very well. Let us go, Eleanor. Show me what you are doing.
Right this way, Your Majesty.
Very seriously, the servants took her roll to heart and dragged Kionna a bit further away, to the two other retainers' relief.
I thought my heart was going to burst.
Tell me about it. Coming here unannounced should not be allowed. They turned to Nahima with a derisive look.
What about following Her Majesty all the time? Not too hard? One wrong word and it's dungeon for you. I would not feel at ease if I were you.
You get used to it. Tell me, you seem to know quite a lot, and as it happens, I need some information.
A jeering rictus crossed Adelph's face. Tell us. We'll see what we can do for you.
Have you heard this rumor saying a fairy had been invited to the princess's baptism?
The two servants threw knowing glances at each other while giggling. Oh, for sure, for sure. Melisande added very seriously.
We even saw the fairy.
Is it true? Could you maybe tell me how to make her appear? I too would like to meet her.
Oh, we cannot tell you that.
Why?
Information such as this needs to be handled very carefully.
Correct.
We have to be sure you are sincere.
By doing us a favor first, for instance. I seem to have lost my purse. If you bring it back to me, I will tell you what I want to know.
And how exactly am I supposed to find it?
Oh, that's easy. I left it in the library, on one of the desks.
May I know what the contents are so I can be sure it's yours?
No way! It's a private matter. Retrieve it, or I will not tell you anything.
Well, this seems shady.
Harsh.
I'm turning all the old people to hot dogs, and you're next!
The flying hell is going on.
Well, that sounds like a great plan. The world needs hot dogs. Oh, son! Stop him! Why are you so